Mile 23 of the Boston Marathon. April 15th. The sun is high. The crowd is roaring. And a man named Marcus Webb is carrying another man on his back. Marcus lost both legs below the knee in Afghanistan. The man on his back, Daniel Cortez, lost his right leg in Iraq. Together, they weigh 370 pounds. Together, they've trained for 5 years for this moment. Together, they're about to cross a finish line that every doctor said was impossible. But this story doesn't start at mile 23. It starts in a hospital room in Germany, where a surgeon looked a 24-year-old Marine in the eyes and said 3 words that changed everything. "You'll never walk again." Marcus Webb didn't believe him, and in the next 90 minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly why that was the best decision he ever made. As before we begin, I need you to do something. Comment below and tell me about a time someone told you that you couldn't do something. Because this story is about proving the impossible wrong, and I want to know you're ready for it. Now let me take you back to the moment when everything changed. Back to the explosion that took Marcus's legs but couldn't touch his spirit. Back to the beginning. Marcus Webb grew up in Detroit. Rough neighborhood. Single mom. 3 younger siblings. He was the man of the house at 12 years old when his dad walked out. By 16, Marcus was working 2 jobs. McDonald's after school. Stocking shelves at a grocery store on weekends. Giving every paycheck to his mom so she could keep the lights on. His teachers told him he was smart, could get a scholarship, could go to college. But Marcus had different plans. On his 18th birthday, he walked into a Marine Corps recruiting office. The recruiter, Staff Sergeant Collins, looked at him. "Why do you want to be a Marine, son?" Marcus didn't hesitate. "Because I want to be something. I want to matter. I want my little brothers and sister to be proud of me." Collins smiled. "Then let's make it happen." 6 months later, Marcus was in boot camp. Paris Island. The toughest 13 weeks of his life. He'd thought working 2 jobs was hard. Boot camp made that look like vacation. But Marcus didn't quit. Couldn't quit. His family was counting on him. By 19, he'd graduated. Top of his class. Infantry. His mom cried when she saw him in his dress blues. "My baby's a Marine!" His siblings looked at him like he was a superhero. For the first time in his life, and Marcus felt like he mattered, like he was more than just a poor kid from Detroit. He was a United States Marine, and that meant something. His first deployment was Iraq, Ramadi, 2007. The surge. He was 20 years old. It was hell. Firefights every day. IEDs everywhere. Friends dying. But Marcus was good at his job. Disciplined. Brave. Smart. He saved 3 guys in his first month. Dragged them out of a burning Humvee after an RPG hit. Got a commendation. His sergeant said he was leadership material. By his second deployment, Marcus was a corporal, squad leader. 8 Marines under his command. He took that responsibility seriously. "My job is to bring you all home," he told them on day 1. "Every single one of you. That's the mission. Everything else is secondary." They called him Mother Hen, not as an insult, though as respect, because Marcus treated his squad like family, checked on them constantly, made sure they ate, made sure they slept, made sure they wrote letters home, made sure they knew someone cared. His third deployment was Afghanistan, Helmand Province, 2010. Marcus was 23. Sergeant now. He'd been in for 5 years, had seen combat, had lost friends, but nothing prepared him for what happened on October 7th. His squad was on patrol. Routine. They'd done it 100 times, walking through a village, checking for insurgents, talking to locals, building relationships, Marcus was in the lead. He always was. "Leaders lead from the front," he'd say. They were walking down a narrow dirt road, mud walls on both sides, kids playing in the distance, an old man selling fruit. Everything seemed normal. But Marcus took one more step, and the world exploded. The IED was buried in the road. 20 pounds of homemade explosives. Pressure triggered. Marcus stepped right on it. The blast was massive. It threw him 15 feet. Shrapnel tore through his legs. His right leg below the knee was gone. Just gone. His left leg was barely attached. Hanging by tissue and bone. He couldn't hear. Couldn't see through the dust and smoke. Couldn't feel anything below his waist. Then the pain hit. Like nothing he'd ever experienced. Like his legs were on fire. Except his legs weren't there anymore. He tried to scream. Nothing came out. His squad was on him in seconds. His medic, a 20-year-old kid named Rodriguez, was crying as he worked. Tourniquets, pressure bandages, IV lines. "Stay with me, Sergeant! Stay with me!" Marcus tried to speak. He tried to ask about his squad. Did the blast hit anyone else? Were his Marines okay? Rodriguez understood. "Just you, Sarge. Just you. Everyone else is safe." Marcus closed his eyes, nodded. If it was just him, if his squad was safe, then it was worth it. That was his last thought before he passed out. Mission accomplished. They're all going home. When he woke up, he was in Germany. Landstuhl Regional Medical Center. The same hospital where thousands of wounded warriors had woken up before him. A surgeon was standing over him. Colonel Davis, older guy, kind eyes, but serious. "Sergeant Webb, you're awake. Good. We need to talk." Marcus tried to sit up, couldn't. His whole body felt heavy, wrong. "My legs," Marcus croaked. His throat was raw. Colonel Davis nodded. "You lost your right leg below the knee in the blast. And we had to amputate your left leg as well. The damage was too severe." "I'm sorry." Marcus stared at the ceiling. Both legs. Gone. "Can I walk?" Marcus asked. Colonel Davis hesitated. That hesitation told Marcus everything. "The truth, sir. I can handle it." The surgeon sighed. "With prosthetics, you might be able to stand. Maybe take a few steps with assistance. But, Sergeant, you need to prepare yourself. You'll likely be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. I'm sorry." The damage was too extensive. The nerve damage, the bone loss, the muscle trauma. Walking again just isn't realistic. Marcus didn't respond, didn't cry, didn't scream, just stared at the ceiling. "I'll give you some time," Colonel Davis said. He left. Marcus was alone, 23 years old, a Marine, a leader, a man who'd spent 5 years running toward danger. And now he'd never walk again. The thought was unbearable. Not because he cared about walking for himself, but because of what it meant. No more leading Marines, no more protecting his squad, no more being useful. He'd be a burden to his family, to the Corps, to everyone. That night, alone in his hospital room, Marcus Webb made a decision. He would prove the doctor wrong. He didn't know how, didn't know if it was possible. But he was going to walk again. Not just walk. He was going to run. And not just run. He was going to do something that would make every person who doubted him eat their words. The road to recovery was hell. They transferred Marcus to Walter Reed in Washington, D.C., the best military hospital in the country. He spent 6 months there. 15 surgeries, infections, phantom pain, PTSD, depression. And there were days he wanted to give up. Days he wished the blast had just killed him. It would have been easier. But every time he was ready to quit, he'd think about his squad. About Rodriguez crying as he tried to save his life. About his Marines who were still over there, still in danger. About his mom and his siblings back in Detroit. He'd think about the promise he'd made to himself in that hospital room in Germany. I will walk again. Physical therapy started 3 months in. His therapist was a woman named Captain Sarah Mitchell, former Army. Tough as nails. She didn't baby him, didn't give him sympathy, just pushed him. Hard. All right, Webb. Today we're going to try standing. With prosthetics? No, with your stumps. We need to build strength in what's left. Marcus looked at his legs, or what used to be his legs, and the stumps ended just below his knees, wrapped in compression bandages. They looked alien. Wrong. I don't think I can. I didn't ask if you think you can, Sarah said. I said we're going to try. Now let's go. She helped him transfer from his wheelchair to parallel bars, padded mats underneath in case he fell. Marcus gripped the bars, tried to lift himself up. His arms shook. His core screamed. His stumps felt like they were being stabbed. He got 6 inches off the chair before collapsing back down. Good, Sarah said. Again. That wasn't good. I didn't even stand. You tried. That's good. Now try again. They did it 40 times that day. Marcus never fully stood, but he tried. And the next day, they did it again, and the next, and the next. After 2 weeks, Marcus stood for 3 seconds. After a month, 10 seconds. After 2 months, he could stand for a full minute. Then came the prosthetics. They fitted him with basic legs first. Sea legs, computerized knees, carbon fiber feet. They looked like something from a sci-fi movie. These cost $60,000 each, the prosthetist told him. The VA covers it, but treat them well. Marcus stared at the artificial legs. Will I be able to walk? If you work hard enough? Yes. But it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. Marcus almost laughed. The hardest thing he'd ever done was watching his Marines deploy without him. Walking would be easy compared to that. It wasn't easy. The first time they strapped the prosthetics on, Marcus stood up and immediately fell. The balance was all wrong. His brain was sending signals to muscles that didn't exist anymore, and he felt like a baby learning to walk. Except babies don't remember what walking used to feel like. Marcus did, and that made it worse. This is impossible, Marcus said after his 10th fall that day. Sarah crossed her arms. You're a Marine, right? Yeah. Then act like one. Marines don't quit. I'm not quitting. I'm being realistic. Realistic is for people who accept limitations. You told me you wanted to walk again, so walk. Marcus gritted his teeth, stood up, took 1 step, fell, stood up again, took 2 steps, fell, stood up again. By the end of that first day, he'd taken 5 consecutive steps. It felt like climbing Everest, but it was progress. Over the next year, Marcus learned to walk. Really walk, not just shuffle, not just limp, but walk with purpose, with strength. He'd spend 6 hours a day in physical therapy, then 3 hours in the gym, building upper body strength, core strength, balance. The other wounded warriors at Walter Reed became his new squad, his new family. They understood. They got it. The frustration, the pain, the feeling of being broken. One guy, Tommy, had lost an arm. Another guy, Steve, had lost both legs above the knee. Worse than Marcus. A woman, Lieutenant Jessica Chen, had lost her left leg and her left arm. They'd work out together, push each other, compete. I walked 100 yards today, Tommy would say. That's cute, Marcus would fire back. I did 150. You're both weak, Jessica would laugh. I did 200. It was what they needed. Normalcy, brotherhood, purpose. But Marcus wanted more than just walking. One day, he was in physical therapy when a guy jogged past the window outside. It's just some random dude. Running. Marcus watched him, envious. "What are you thinking about?" Sarah asked. "I want to run." "You just learned to walk 6 months ago." "I know, but I want to run." Sarah studied him. "Why?" Marcus thought about that. "Because someone told me I'd never walk again, and I proved them wrong. Now I want to prove I can do more than walk. I want to prove I'm not disabled. I'm just different." Sarah smiled. "Okay, let's start training." Learning to run with prosthetic legs is exponentially harder than learning to walk. Walking, you always have one foot on the ground. Running, there are moments when both feet are in the air. Your brain has to trust artificial legs to catch you when you land. Marcus's brain didn't trust them. Not at first. He'd try to run, and his body would freeze. Self-preservation. Fear of falling. "You have to commit," Sarah told him. "You can't half-ass running. You either run or you don't." Marcus tried, fell, split his chin open, needed 6 stitches, tried again the next day, fell again, bruised his shoulder, tried again. He fell 67 times in the first month. But on day 32, something clicked. Marcus took 5 running steps, not fast, not graceful, but running. He stopped, laughed. "I did it." "You did," Sarah said. She was smiling, actually smiling. "Now do it again." By month 3, Marcus could run a quarter mile. By month 6, a half mile. By month 9, a full mile. It took him 23 minutes. A normal person could do it in 7 or 8. But Marcus wasn't normal. He was a double amputee, and he'd just run a mile. He called his mom that night. "Mama, I ran a mile today," she cried. "Baby, I'm so proud of you." "They told me I'd never walk. I'm running, Mama." "I never doubted you, not once." After that call, Marcus sat in his room, thought about what came next. He could keep improving, keep running. But to what end? He needed a goal, something to aim for, something impossible. Then it hit him. A marathon. He was going to run a marathon. When he told Sarah, she didn't laugh. She just nodded. "Okay, let's make a plan." Training for a marathon with prosthetic legs is insane. Most runners train for 4 to 6 months. Marcus trained for 3 years. His first year, he built up to running 5 miles. His second year, 10 miles. His third year, 15. The pain was constant. Blisters, pressure sores, skin breakdown. Prosthetics aren't perfect. They rub, they shift, they cause damage. And Marcus would finish a run with blood soaking through his socks. He'd clean the wounds, bandage them, rest for a day, then run again. "You're going to injure yourself permanently," the doctors warned. "You need to slow down." "Can't," Marcus said. "I have a goal." "The goal isn't worth destroying your body." "Yes, it is." Because it wasn't just about the marathon. It was about showing other wounded warriors what was possible. It was about refusing to be defined by his injuries. It was about proving that never was just a word. During his third year of training, Marcus met someone who changed everything. He was at the VA hospital for a routine prosthetic adjustment. In the waiting room, he saw a guy about his age, Hispanic, muscular, sitting in a wheelchair, missing his right leg. The guy was staring at a poster on the wall, a marathon advertisement. "You thinking about running?" Marcus asked. The guy turned. His eyes were empty, defeated. "No, just remembering what it used to be like." "What do you mean?" "I ran 3 marathons before I deployed. Boston twice, New York once. That was my thing. Running. Now," he gestured to his missing leg, "now I'm just a guy in a wheelchair." Marcus sat down next to him. What's your name? Daniel. Daniel Cortez, Army Infantry. Lost my leg in Mosul 2 years ago. Marcus Webb, Marines. Lost both of mine in Helmand 5 years ago. Daniel looked at Marcus's prosthetic legs. Both. Both. And you're walking. I'm running, actually. Training for Boston. Daniel's jaw dropped. You're kidding. Not even a little. I'm running the Boston Marathon next year. You should join me. Daniel laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was bitter. Dude, I can barely get out of bed. I'm not running a marathon. Why not? Because I only have one leg. So, I don't have any legs, technically? Daniel stared at him. You're serious. Dead serious. Look, I don't know your story, but I know this. You ran 3 marathons. That takes discipline, determination, heart. You didn't lose those things in Mosul. You just think you did. I can't. Yes, you can. I'll help you. We'll train together. Daniel shook his head. Why would you help me? You don't even know me. Marcus leaned forward. Because 5 years ago, I was you, sitting in a hospital room, being told I'd never walk again, believing it, giving up. Then someone pushed me. Someone told me I was stronger than I thought. And they were right. Now I'm telling you the same thing. But you're stronger than you think. Daniel looked away. I'll think about it. Good. Here's my number. Call me when you're ready. Marcus handed him a card, stood up, walked away on his prosthetic legs. Daniel watched him go, and for the first time in 2 years, he felt something he thought he'd lost. Hope. Daniel called 3 days later. Okay, I'm in. What do we do? Marcus smiled. First, we get you out of that wheelchair. They met at the VA gym the next morning. Marcus brought Sarah, his physical therapist. Sarah evaluated Daniel. Your amputation is below the knee. That's good. You should be a candidate for a running prosthetic. I have a prosthetic, Daniel said. I barely use it. Why? Because it hurts. And what's the point? I'm not doing anything that requires walking. You are now, Marcus said. You're training for Boston. Daniel looked at him like he was crazy. Dude, Boston is in 6 months. There's no way. Not this year, Marcus interrupted. Next year, or the year after, however long it takes. We're going to do this together. Over the next 2 years, Marcus and Daniel became brothers. They trained 6 days a week, running, weights, core work, balance exercises. It was brutal. Daniel fell constantly at first, got frustrated, wanted to quit. I can't do this, Daniel said after a particularly bad day. He'd fallen 4 times. His stump was bleeding. Yeah, you can. You don't get it, Marcus. You're like superhuman or something. I'm not like you. You're right, Marcus said. You're not like me. You're better. What? You ran 3 marathons on 2 legs. That's impressive, but it's not special. Thousands of people do that. But running a marathon on 1 leg? As an amputee? That's legendary. That's superhuman. Daniel looked at his stump, at the blood, at the prosthetic lying on the ground. What if I can't? Then we'll try again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, until you can. I'm not giving up on you, Daniel, so don't give up on yourself. Daniel picked up his prosthetic, put it back on, stood up. Okay, let's go again. By year 4, both of them were running 20 miles. Daniel had gotten a running prosthetic, a blade, carbon fiber, designed for speed. He was fast, faster than Marcus. Show off, Marcus would joke as Daniel pulled ahead. Just trying to keep up with you, old man, Daniel would shoot back. They planned to run Boston together, as a team. Marcus would run with his 2 prosthetic legs. and Daniel with his one. They'd cross the finish line together. Then, 3 months before the marathon, Daniel's mom got sick. Cancer, stage 4. She lived in Los Angeles. Daniel needed to be with her. "I can't train anymore," Daniel told Marcus. "I have to go home, take care of her." "I understand," Marcus said, "but don't stop running. Promise me." "I'll try." Daniel left for Los Angeles. Marcus kept training alone. It felt wrong, empty. They'd been a team. Now he was just one guy again. He thought about deferring, waiting for Daniel. But he was ready. After 5 years of training, he was finally ready. Then, 2 months before Boston, Daniel called. "She's gone," Daniel said. His voice was hollow. "My mom died yesterday." "I'm so sorry, man." "She asked me about you. At the end, I'd asked if we were still going to run Boston." "What did you tell her?" "I told her I didn't think I could. Not without her there." She got mad. Daniel laughed, but it was full of tears. "She actually got mad at me. From her deathbed. She said, 'You're going to run that marathon, Daniel. You're going to prove you're stronger than you think. Promise me.' So I promised." "So you're running?" "I'm running." "But Marcus," Daniel's voice broke, "I haven't trained in 2 months. I've been sitting in a hospital, watching my mom die. I can't run 26 miles. I'm not ready." Marcus thought for a long moment. "Then I'll carry you." "What?" "I'll carry you. The parts you can't do. We'll do this together. That's what brothers do." Daniel was quiet. Then, "You can't carry a 190-pound man for 26 miles. Oh, you're insane." "Probably, but I'm doing it anyway. Get to Boston. We're running this thing together." Daniel flew to Boston 3 days before the marathon. He looked terrible, thin, exhausted, broken. Marcus hugged him. "I'm sorry about your mom." "Thanks. She was my best friend." They went to registration together, picked up their race bibs. Marcus was number 34,721. Daniel was 34,722, right next to each other. "How do we do this?" Daniel asked. "The carry thing?" "We run together," Marcus explained. "As long as you can. When you get tired, you get on my back. We'll use a harness. I've been training with a weighted vest. 50 pounds. I can handle you." "Marcus, this is crazy." "Yeah, but we're doing it anyway." They spent the next 2 days going over the plan. Marcus had designed a special harness, like a piggyback carrier, but reinforced. Daniel would wrap his arms around Marcus's neck, his legs around Marcus's waist. Marcus would lean forward and run. They tested it. Marcus carried Daniel for a mile. It was hard, really hard, but doable. "You sure about this?" Daniel asked. "Positive. Your mom wanted you to run Boston. You're going to run Boston, even if I have to carry you across the finish line." The night before the marathon, they couldn't sleep. Too nervous, too excited. They sat in their hotel room, 2 wounded warriors, about to attempt something doctors said was impossible. "Why are you doing this?" Daniel asked. "The carry thing. You could just run by yourself, finish in a good time. Why risk it?" Marcus thought about that. 5 years ago, a surgeon told me I'd never walk again. He wasn't being mean. He was being realistic. And based on his experience, his training, his knowledge, I shouldn't be able to walk. But I can. You know why? Why? Because someone believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Someone pushed me, helped me, refused to let me quit. Now it's my turn. You're not running this marathon alone, Daniel. We're in this together. That's what brothers do. Daniel wiped his eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me at mile 26. They tried to sleep. Managed maybe 3 hours. At 4 in the morning, they got up, put on their race gear, attached their prosthetics. Marcus wore his running blades. Daniel wore his. They looked at each other. "Ready?" Marcus asked. "No," Daniel admitted. "Good. Me neither. Let's do this anyway." The Boston Marathon starts in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, 26.2 miles to the finish line in downtown Boston. The 30,000 runners, millions of spectators, one of the most famous marathons in the world. Marcus and Daniel lined up at the start, in the disability division, surrounded by other runners with prosthetics, wheelchairs, hand cycles, warriors, all of them. The national anthem played. Marcus felt tears on his face. He was about to run Boston, something he'd dreamed about for 5 years. The gun went off. They started running. The first mile was a blur. Crowds screaming, music blaring, energy everywhere. Marcus and Daniel ran side by side, matching pace. They were slow compared to the elite runners, but they were running. Mile 2, mile 3. Daniel was doing fine, breathing hard, but keeping up. "You good?" Marcus asked. "Yeah, I'm good." Mile 5, mile 7. They passed through Framingham, crowds 10 deep on both sides, signs everywhere. "See, you got this. Keep going. We love you." One sign caught Marcus's eye. "Someone who was told they'd never walk is now running past you. What's your excuse?" He smiled. Mile 10. Daniel started slowing. "You okay?" "Yeah, just getting tired." "We're a third done. You're doing amazing." "I don't know if I can make it to 26. "You don't have to. I got you." Mile 13, halfway point. Daniel was limping. His prosthetic was rubbing, creating a blister. "I need to stop," Daniel said. "Okay, let's fix it." They stopped at a medical tent. Volunteers helped Daniel take off his prosthetic. His stump was raw, bleeding. "You should drop out," the medic said. "This is going to get worse." "Not happening," Daniel said. They bandaged him up, put the prosthetic back on, started running again. But Daniel was in pain. Real pain. And every step was agony. By mile 15, he couldn't hide it anymore. "Marcus, I can't." "I know. Get on my back." "Are you sure?" "Positive. We trained for this." Daniel climbed onto Marcus's back, wrapped his arms around his neck, his leg around Marcus's waist. The harness took most of the weight, but it was still 190 pounds. Marcus leaned forward, started running. The crowd went insane. People were crying, screaming, cheering. "Oh my God, he's carrying him! Look at that! That's a Marine! You're my hero!" Marcus didn't hear them. He was focused. One step, then another, then another. Don't think about 26 miles. Think about 1 mile, then the next. Mile 16. Marcus's legs were burning. His back was screaming. His prosthetics felt like they were going to break. "You want to stop?" Daniel asked in his ear. "No." "Marcus, this is insane. You're going to hurt yourself." "Don't care. We're finishing." Mile 17, mile 18. The pain was unbearable now. Marcus's vision was blurring. His breathing was ragged. He was running purely on willpower. "Tell me about your mom," Marcus said through gritted teeth. "What?" "Your mom. Tell me about her. I need a distraction." Daniel started talking about his mom, how she'd raised him alone, how she'd worked 3 jobs to send him to college, how proud she was when he joined the army, how devastated she was when he lost his leg, how she never gave up on him. "She told me something before she died," Daniel said. She said, "Pain is temporary. Quitting is forever." I didn't understand what she meant until right now. Mile 19. They entered Brookline. The crowds were massive now, and the noise was deafening. Marcus could barely hear his own thoughts. Just put one foot in front of the other. That's all. Just keep moving. Mile 20. Only 6.2 miles left. Might as well be 100. Marcus's prosthetics were digging into his stumps. He could feel blood pooling in his socks. "Marcus, you're bleeding," Daniel said. "I can see it." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. Please stop." "Not until we cross that finish line." Mile 21. Heartbreak Hill, the most famous part of the Boston Marathon. A half-mile incline. Brutal under normal circumstances. Impossible while carrying someone. Marcus hit the base of the hill and almost quit. Almost stopped. Almost said, "I can't do this." Then he heard Daniel crying. "I'm sorry," Daniel sobbed. "I'm so sorry. This is my fault. You're killing yourself because of me." "No," Marcus gasped. "I'm doing this because of me, because someone once told me I'd never walk again, and I want to prove that anything is possible." He started up the hill, one agonizing step at a time. The crowd was losing their minds, chanting, "Marcus! Marcus! Marcus!" Someone had his name. How? Then he saw it. A reporter, running alongside him with a camera. "Marcus Webb, you're a Marine veteran, right? You lost both legs in Afghanistan?" Marcus couldn't respond, just nodded. "Why are you doing this? Why carry him?" Marcus looked at the camera, gasped out 5 words. "Because brothers don't leave brothers behind." That clip would be viewed 200 million times in the next week. But Marcus didn't know that. He just kept climbing. At the top of Heartbreak Hill, Daniel said something. "Put me down." "What?" "Put me down. And I'm running the rest." "Daniel, you can't." "Yes, I can. You carried me up that hill. The least I can do is run the last 5 miles. Please, let me do this." Marcus stopped. Daniel climbed off his back, put weight on his prosthetic, winced, then started running. Marcus ran beside him. They were both broken, both bleeding, both in agony. But they were running. Mile 22, mile 23. They could see downtown Boston now. The finish line was close, so close. Daniel was crying openly now. "My mom can see this. I know she can." "She can," Marcus agreed. "She's proud of you." Mile 24. The crowds were a blur, just noise and color. Marcus's body was shutting down. His legs weren't responding right. His vision kept going dark at the edges, but he kept moving. Daniel was limping badly. Every step was torture. But he kept moving too. Mile 25. 1 mile left. "We're going to make it," Daniel said. "We're actually going to make it." "Never doubted it," Marcus lied. They turned onto Boylston Street, the final stretch, half a mile to the finish line. The crowd noise was deafening. A wall of sound. Marcus could see the finish line, blue and yellow, the Boston Marathon colors. It was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. "Together?" Daniel asked. "Together," Marcus confirmed. They linked arms, 2 wounded warriors, 2 brothers, both of them running on artificial legs, both of them proving the impossible. They crossed the finish line at the exact same moment. Time, 7 hours, 43 minutes, 18 seconds. Dead last place. But they finished. They collapsed onto the ground. Medics rushed over. "Are you okay?" said, "Do you need medical attention?" Marcus looked at Daniel. Both of them were crying, laughing, bleeding, broken, beautiful. "We did it," Daniel whispered. "We did it." "Yeah," Marcus said. "We did." They lay there on the ground. Behind them, 29,998 runners had finished ahead of them. In front of them, nothing. They were last, and they didn't care. Because they'd finished. A surgeon once told Marcus Webb he'd never walk again. Today, he ran 26.2 miles and carried his brother when his brother couldn't carry himself. That's not just walking, that's flying. The photo of Marcus and Daniel crossing the finish line went viral instantly. Two amputees, arms linked, both crying, both triumphant. The Boston Globe ran it on the front page. Brothers in arms finish Boston Marathon. ESPN featured them. The Today Show. Good Morning America. Ellen. The story was everywhere. But Marcus and Daniel weren't interested in media attention. They were in the hospital, getting treated for severe injuries. Marcus had stress fractures in both femurs. His stumps were shredded, infected. He needed surgery. Daniel's stump was equally bad. Plus, he'd torn his Achilles tendon in his remaining foot. Pushing through the pain had damaged it. "You're both idiots," the doctor said. But he was smiling. "You could have caused permanent damage." "Worth it," Marcus said. "Totally worth it," Daniel agreed. They spent 3 days in the hospital, in the same room, recovering together. The hospital was flooded with gifts, flowers, cards, letters, from people around the world. One letter stood out. It was from Colonel Davis, the surgeon who'd told Marcus he'd never walk again. "Dear Sergeant Webb, I saw your finish at Boston. I watched you carry your friend. I watched you both cross that line. And I owe you an apology. 7 years ago, I told you that you'd never walk again. I based that assessment on medical knowledge, statistical probability, and my experience with thousands of wounded warriors. I was wrong. You proved me wrong. And I've never been happier to be wrong in my entire career. You didn't just walk. You ran a marathon. You carried another man. You achieved something I thought was medically impossible. What you did wasn't just inspiring. It was important. Because every wounded warrior who sees your story will know that doctors don't define limits. That prognoses aren't destiny. That the human spirit can overcome anything. Thank you for proving me wrong. Thank you for refusing to accept limitations. A thank you for showing the world what courage really looks like. With deepest respect and admiration, Colonel James Davis, M.D. Marcus read the letter 3 times. Then he folded it carefully. Put it in his pocket. "What does it say?" Daniel asked. "It says we did something important." "Did we?" Marcus looked at his friend, his brother. "Yeah, we did." They were released from the hospital 5 days later. A press conference was waiting. Marcus didn't want to do it, but their story had become bigger than them. People needed to hear it. The room was packed, cameras everywhere, reporters shouting questions. Marcus and Daniel sat at a table, both in wheelchairs, temporarily, until their injuries healed. "Marcus, why did you carry Daniel?" one reporter asked. "Because that's what brothers do." "Daniel, why did you want to finish? And you could have dropped out." "Because my mom asked me to promise, and I don't break promises to my mom." "What do you want people to know about your story?" Marcus thought about that. Then he spoke. 7 years ago, a doctor told me I'd never walk again. He wasn't lying. He wasn't being cruel. Based on everything he knew, I shouldn't have been able to walk. But I didn't accept that. I worked every single day for 5 years to prove him wrong. Not because I was special, not because I was superhuman, but because I refused to let someone else define my limits. He paused. Everyone has been told never at some point. Never try that. You'll never succeed. You'll never be good enough. You'll never recover. You'll never be happy. And we accept it because it comes from authority, from experts, from people who should know. But here's the truth. They don't know you. They don't know what you're capable of. They don't know how strong you are, how determined, how stubborn. Only you know that. So when someone tells you never, say, "Watch me." The room erupted in applause. Daniel added, "And find someone who believes in you. Marcus believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. He carried me, literally. Everyone needs someone who will carry them. Be that person for someone, and find someone who will be that person for you." More applause. The press conference ended. Marcus and Daniel wheeled backstage, exhausted. "You think we made a difference?" Daniel asked. "I don't know," Marcus admitted, "but I hope so." They made a difference. In the year following Boston, the VA reported a 340% increase in wounded veterans requesting running prosthetics. An amputee marathons grew from niche events to mainstream. The Challenged Athletes Foundation saw donations triple, and Marcus and Daniel received over 10,000 letters from veterans, from amputees, from people with disabilities, from people with depression, from people who'd given up. Every letter said the same thing. "You inspired me. You showed me what's possible. Thank you." One letter was from a 16-year-old girl, Sarah. She'd lost her leg to cancer, had been in a wheelchair for 2 years, depressed, suicidal. Then she saw Marcus and Daniel cross the finish line. "I watched you carry your friend, and I realized something," she wrote. "If a man with no legs can run a marathon, I can get out of this wheelchair." So I did. I started physical therapy. I got a prosthetic. And yesterday, I walked for the first time in 2 years. Because of you. Thank you for not giving up. You saved my life. Marcus and Daniel read that letter together. Both of them cried. "We did make a difference," Daniel said. "Yeah," Marcus agreed. "We did." They started a nonprofit. Never Again. The mission: provide running prosthetics to wounded veterans and amputees who couldn't afford them. Running prosthetics cost $15,000 to $30,000. Insurance rarely covers them. Many amputees who want to run simply can't afford to. Marcus and Daniel changed that. They raised money, held fundraisers, got corporate sponsors. In the first year, they provided prosthetics to 50 amputees. In the second year, 200. By year 5, over 1,000 people had received running prosthetics through their foundation. Each one a life changed. Each one a person who refused to accept never. Marcus and Daniel also started coaching, training amputees who wanted to run marathons. They held boot camps, training programs, built a community. The Never Again Squad, they called it. A family of runners who refused to let amputation define them. 5 years after Boston, Marcus and Daniel returned. This time, they weren't alone. They had 40 amputee runners with them, all trained by Marcus and Daniel, all ready to prove the impossible. They called it the Never Again Marathon Team. The oldest runner was 73, Vietnam vet. Lost his leg in 1968. Hadn't run in 50 years. The youngest was 19, Iraq vet. Lost both legs at 17. Youngest double amputee in VA history. They all ran together. A moving, rolling, limping, triumphant wave of humanity. And some ran the whole way. Some used wheelchairs part of the time. Some carried each other. Marcus and Daniel ran side by side. No carrying this time. Both of them healthy, healed, strong. They finished in 5 hours, 32 minutes. Still slow by marathon standards, but a personal record for both of them. When they crossed the finish line, the other 38 runners were waiting. All of them had finished ahead of Marcus and Daniel. All of them had waited to celebrate together. They formed a line, created a tunnel. Marcus and Daniel ran through it, high-fiving, hugging, crying. At the end of the tunnel stood two people, Marcus's mom and Daniel's little sister. Representing his mom, who couldn't be there, they hugged their families, celebrated with their team, proved once again that never was just a word. That night, at the team dinner, Marcus stood up, gave a speech. 7 years ago, I ran this marathon for the first time. I did it to prove something, to prove I wasn't disabled, to prove I was still strong, to prove the doctors wrong. But I was running for the wrong reasons. Today, I ran for you, for every person in this room who was told they'd never run again, for every person who chose to fight, who chose to try, who chose to believe in themselves. You're my heroes, every single one of you, and I'm honored to run beside you. The room stood, applauded, cried. Daniel added, "My mom told me, pain is temporary, quitting is forever." She was right. Everything we went through in training, the falls, the blisters, the injuries, all of that was temporary. But if we'd quit, we'd have lived with that forever. You didn't quit, and because you didn't quit, you get to call yourself a marathoner for the rest of your life. Nobody can take that away from you. Ever. More applause, more tears. After dinner, Marcus and Daniel walked along the Charles River, just the two of them, reflecting. "You ever think about that day?" Daniel asked. "Which day?" "The day we met, at the VA, when I was in a wheelchair, staring at that marathon poster." Marcus smiled. "Every day. I was going to kill myself, you know. That night, I'd already written the note, had the pills. Then you sat down, started talking, told me I could run. I thought you were insane." "I am insane," Daniel laughed. "Yeah, but you saved my life. I never told you that. But you did." Marcus stopped walking, looked at his friend, his brother. "You saved mine too. Carrying you across that finish line gave me purpose. It showed me that my struggle wasn't just about me, it was about showing others what's possible. You gave me that." They hugged. Two men who'd lost their legs, but found their purpose, found their strength, found each other. 10 years after Marcus lost his legs. He was 34. Daniel was 32. Never again had provided running prosthetics to over 3,000 amputees. Their marathon team had grown to 200 runners. They'd competed in Boston, New York, Chicago, London, Tokyo. Every major marathon. They'd been featured in a documentary. Never, the story of two warriors. It won an Emmy. Marcus had written a book, One Step at a Time. How I Went from Being Told I'd Never Walk to Running a Marathon. It was a bestseller. Daniel had become a motivational speaker, traveling the world, telling his story, inspiring millions. And they'd both remarried. Marcus to a nurse he met at the VA, Daniel to a physical therapist. Both had kids now, teaching them that limitations are imaginary, that never is a lie, that anything is possible. One day, Marcus got a call from Colonel Davis, the surgeon. "Marcus, I have a favor to ask." "Anything, sir." "We have a young Marine here, 22 years old, lost both legs in Syria, IED. He's in bad shape mentally. Won't talk to anyone. Won't do physical therapy. Keeps saying he'd rather have died. I showed him your video, the one from Boston. He watched it and said, 'That's propaganda. That's not real.' I told him it was real, that I knew you personally. He said, 'Then bring him here. If he's real, I want to meet him.'" Marcus didn't hesitate. "I'll be there tomorrow." He flew to Germany, to Landstuhl, and the same hospital where he'd woken up 10 years earlier. Colonel Davis met him at the entrance. His name is Private First Class Kyle Morrison. He's angry, depressed. He tried to hurt himself twice. We're watching him closely. I understand. They walked to Kyle's room. Marcus knocked. Go away, a voice said from inside. Marcus opened the door anyway. Kyle was in bed, staring at the ceiling, his legs, or lack of them, hidden under a blanket. He looked at Marcus, saw the prosthetic legs. You're him, the Marine from the video. I am. They told you to come talk to me. They did. I don't want to talk. That's okay. I'll talk. You listen. Marcus sat down. 10 years ago, I was in this exact hospital, in a room just like this. A surgeon told me I'd never walk again. I believed him. I wanted to die. I thought my life was over. And I was 24 years old, a Marine, a leader, and I was useless. That's what I told myself. Useless, pathetic, worthless. I was ready to give up. Kyle was listening now, eyes on Marcus. Then I met a physical therapist who didn't accept that. She pushed me, every single day, even when I hated her, even when I screamed at her, even when I quit. She didn't give up on me, and eventually I stopped giving up on myself. Marcus leaned forward. You're not useless, Kyle. You're not pathetic. You're not worthless. You're a Marine who got hurt doing what Marines do, protecting your brothers. That doesn't make you broken. It makes you a warrior. I can't walk, Kyle whispered. Neither could I. Now I run marathons. I carry men on my back. I have a wife and 2 kids. I run a nonprofit that's changed thousands of lives. I've done more in the last 10 years than I did in the 24 years before I lost my legs. Marcus stood up. You have a choice, Kyle. You can lie in this bed and accept what the doctors say. Or you can fight. You can work. You can prove them wrong. It's going to be hard, harder than anything you've ever done. But you're a Marine, and Marines don't quit. Kyle looked at him, really looked at him. What if I can't? What if I try and fail? Then you try again, and again, and again, until you don't fail. I fell 67 times learning to run. 67 times, Kyle. But I got up 68 times. That's the only number that matters. Not how many times you fall, how many times you get up. Marcus put his business card on the table. When you're ready, when you want to fight, call me. I'll help you. You're not alone in this. I promise. Marcus left. Kyle stared at the card, at the ceiling, at his missing legs. Then, for the first time in 3 weeks, he pressed the call button. A nurse came in. I need my physical therapist, Kyle said. I'm ready to start. 6 months later, Kyle walked for the first time. Marcus was there, flew to Walter Reed to see it. Kyle took 5 shaky steps and collapsed into Marcus's arms, both of them crying. I did it, Kyle whispered. You did, Marcus said, and you're going to keep doing it. 2 years later, Kyle ran his first 5K. Marcus and Daniel ran beside him. The Never Again team was there, cheering, crying, celebrating. Kyle finished in 47 minutes, last place. But he finished. After the race, he hugged Marcus. You saved my life. No, Marcus said. You saved your own life. I just showed you it was possible. Kyle smiled. Cheat, then I'm going to show someone else, just like you showed me. That's the mission, Marcus agreed. We carry each other. That's how we all make it home. 5 years after meeting Kyle, Marcus got an invitation. Kyle was getting married. The invitation had a note. You're not just invited. You're walking me down the aisle. My dad died when I was a kid. You're the closest thing I have to a father. Please say yes. Kyle. Marcus called immediately. Of course I'll be there. At the wedding, Marcus walked Kyle down the aisle. Both of them on prosthetic legs. Both of them warriors. Both of them living proof that never was just a word. During the reception, Kyle gave a speech. 10 years ago, I thought my life was over. I was lying in a hospital bed. No legs, no hope, no future. Then a man walked into my room. A man who wasn't supposed to be able to walk. A man who proved that impossible is just someone's opinion. That man changed my life. He showed me that losing my legs didn't mean losing myself. Marcus Webb, you're my hero. You're my brother. And I love you. Thank you for not giving up on me. The room gave Marcus a standing ovation. Marcus stood up, hugged Kyle, whispered in his ear, "You did this, not me. You chose to fight. You chose to live. You chose to be here today. That's all you, brother. All you." Kyle nodded, crying, happy, whole. That night, Marcus and Daniel sat outside, looking at the stars. "You think we've done enough?" Daniel asked. "Enough for what?" "To make it all worth it. The pain, the struggle, losing our legs. Do you think it was worth it?" Marcus thought about that, about the 3,000 amputees running, about Kyle getting married, about Sarah, the 16-year-old girl who'd walked again, about the Never Again team, about the lives changed. "Yeah," Marcus said, "I think it was worth it." "Me too," Daniel agreed. They sat in comfortable silence, two brothers, two warriors, two men who'd been told never and responded with, "Watch me." And somewhere in Germany, in a hospital room, another wounded warrior was staring at the ceiling, making a decision, to fight or to quit, to try or to surrender. And on his phone, a video was playing of Marcus Webb carrying Daniel Cortez across the Boston Marathon finish line, proving that anything is possible, that never is a lie, that heroes don't give up, and neither should you. And that's where we'll end this story. The story of a man who was told he'd never walk and responded by running marathons. And the story of a brotherhood forged in pain and triumph. The story of refusing to accept limitations, of proving the impossible, of carrying each other when we can't carry ourselves. If this story moved you, I need you to do something. Hit that like button for every person who's ever been told never and proved them wrong. Subscribe to this channel because I'm going to keep telling stories that matter. Stories that inspire. Stories that prove the human spirit is unbreakable. And leave a comment. Tell me, what never are you going to prove wrong? What impossible thing are you going to attempt? What limitation are you going to shatter? Because Marcus and Daniel's story isn't just their story. It's ours. Every single one of us has been told we can't do something, that we're not good enough, that we should give up, that we'll never succeed. And this story is proof that those voices are wrong, that you are stronger than you think, that your limits are further than you believe, that when someone says never, you say, "Watch me." Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for believing that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Now go out there and prove the impossible. Marcus and Daniel are waiting to see what you do next. I'll see you in the next story.